Welcome back to Next
All right.
Stage. we decided we want to talk a bit about music. We did the introduction. We explored what we're going to do with the podcast, but we want to talk about some hard music stuff right now.
Oh yeah.
Not too
Let's
hard.
get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, there's this band that I came across on YouTube. I don't want to say discovered because that seems like, oh, nobody knew until me.
I don't know.
I might have discovered them.
I think they have to thank you a little bit because
They might after this. We'll do a deal.
They're gonna blow up after this. Obviously,
We got to say the name. Weed pecker, they're called. Yes, and instead of a woodpecker, I suppose that's the illusion there. But they're what you would consider, or maybe they consider themselves, or people consider this like stoner rock, sort of genre, which I've been digging into. It's sort of it seems to come out of this Black Sabbath type vein, where it's got those riffy, fuzzy stuff like that. But this band, Weed Pecker, a lot of spacey sort of instrumental things. There's definitely songs in there. There's lyrics. It's not just music, but it had a really cool like vibe to it. Reminded us of like some of the old Floyd stuff around like the metal era.
super spacey at times, and if you can hang through that, like I know a lot of stoner rock bands out there or fans of stoner rock. They like to kind of have their like I just want the riffs. I want the song. I want 3 minutes of just. Craziness of stoner.
Or 13 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they
Some of
bridge
those songs
that
tend to be
gap.
real long.
They play both sides of that. So they give you the tasteful riffage that you'll get in a stoner rock band, and they also give you the space and the time to kind of chill and listen.
Yeah, a little more delicate sounds in there and dynamics, and just beautiful music, well recorded and all that too. This one was actually, it was just called Weed Pecker 3, like 111 or I, whatever. They have I, or 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's how they're naming their albums at this point. But yeah, it had a lot of space in it, and it kept you listening because it wasn't predictable or wasn't formulaic. It sounded less derivative than some of the other bands that are considered in that genre, where it wasn't so obvious where they were coming from.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's unfortunate. We were listening to this band last night, and I immediately posted on their Facebook wall that they should come to the United States because they're only playing in Europe. And
you're
which
wondering,
is
hey,
cool
when are they touring?
that we're even able to know about them, and that's the power of the internet, and that's what we're trying to utilize here with what we're doing with our music scene. But, it's cool that we know about them. We probably would never have heard of a stone rock band in Germany.
Yeah. That's where they're based out of, Germany?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm learning.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they have. I read their biography last night. It's pretty hilarious. If you want to take a minute and comb through that, we're not at liberty to discuss all the things that they talk about in their biography. But
if you Google them on the interwebs, you'll come up with it.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that this sort of what is considered stoner rock music, it seems to be a lot of it coming out of European countries and like Australia and places like that. Sure. And it gives me a hope of like rock and roll, which is what I've always been most attracted to in music. I like all music, I can dabble in different things, but rock is really what gets me going, what turns me on. It's like I like the energy, the feel of it, being loud and irreverent sort of things. But it shows me that type of music is still viable. There's people still into it, and just because it may not be what's top of mind in America, doesn't mean that it's not important elsewhere. And that gave me a hope of like, hey, there's actually a bigger audience to think about than just what's going on in the top 40 here, and it's so restrictive, the music charts, and thinking that that's what you have to do in order to be relevant. If you're just looking at the American music charts, it's dismal if you play rock.
I think it's kind of cool too that we're, as Americans, kind of like reaching out to these bands, like that's how dismal and disgusting our music scene is here. It's like our top 40 is filled with Taylor Swift and you know, a Diplo, and I can't even name you 5 artists that.
We don't want to bash anybody just because it's not our bag.
I'm
doesn't mean
bashing.
somebody.
I'm bashing.
Okay.
I'm bashing.
I'll
I
let you
hate.
bash.
I hate top 40 garbage. But you know, this is a different genre, right?
Yeah.
This isn't something that's going to bleed through on top charts anywhere in the world, right? So you have to do a little bit of digging if you're a fan of this music. But once you dig, you find. I mean, it's just opening Pandora's box.
It's like a cave.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff out there. Yeah, it's endless. I mean, there's Earthless. There's all kinds of bands out there that will.
Yeah, Earthless. They're good. A Dead Meadow.
Actually, my dad told me about a thing today that was a bunch of stoner rock bands like Earthless and All Them Witches, which is also a great band.
We love them.
They're all covering Jimi Hendrix on an album.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be a listen to.
I think we need to check that out at some point and maybe do a little review on that. But that's for the future.
Absolutely. And you know, you mentioned it, and I wouldn't have put it together. But of course that makes sense. Hendrix like really did start a lot of that aesthetic that's being, carried through, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you had Black Sabbath and you had Led Zeppelin. Those were like the first, you know, main big, we can call this sort of heavy metal. But Hendrix was doing things that were really pushing that ball before they came along. And like, without somebody like Hendrix pushing what the electric guitar could do and making these soundscapes that weren't focused on, you know, being like pretty and very, you know, separated and contrived. It was sort of like he opened that huge door of like sonic experimentation that a lot of this music can trace its roots back to, I think.
Absolutely. I think he was a riff master.
Yeah.
You know? You listen to like, it might not be your favorite Hendrix, kind of like Freedom, great, you know, lick on that. Easy Rider, great lick on that.
Yeah.
Dolly Dagger.
I don't even know some of this shit.
I mean, this is all, you know, I think New Rider, or not New Riders.
Band of Gypsies?
Well, a little post-band Gypsies.
Post-band of
yeah,
Gypsies.
This is, God, I can't think of the name of it.
Well,
Like, I want to say, you know what? I'm not going to say.
you're not gonna. Yeah, you
I don't want to butcher
misspeak.
one of Hendrix's great albums, but it's kind of post era, and I think there's a mixture of like, you know, having Buddy Miles on drums and also having Mitch Mitchell.
Well, wasn't that always kind of the band he wanted to have, or something? Like he sort of saw a band of Gypsies as like what he wanted to really do.
I think that was more of a like a soul movement. That's when they went to like Motown Records, and they were like, they were all black band at that point. You know, it was, you know, Jimi Hendrix was, you know, Jimi Hendrix with 2 white guys, you know, for the trio for the you know, main career of his. But when he did the Band of Gypsies, you know, that was almost like a protest of a protest, you know, like using that during the times that, you know, late 60s and, you know, Vietnam and all that. That was a big thing, you know, because Jimmy and Billy Cox, who was the bass player, they were both in the army together.
Right? Didn't they like jam with each other back in that era? Maybe they're part of the army band or something. Or
I think so. Yeah.
They got a throwback to that.
Like I said, you know, I don't want to speak out of terms and
I know
butcher.
Google can do this better than we can.
You know, Wikipedia. You know, that's probably wrong, but
it's interesting that you bring up the point of like that they were an all black band, and that was you know, significant, I guess, at the time, but also in general, it's not, for whatever reason, like not as common. You know, you've got like Living Colour is one that comes to mind in more recent times. The Roots, you know, and I guess it doesn't, you know, it shouldn't matter. The ethnicity or whatever of people that are in a different.
No, but
band,
there was a message at that time, you know, where like, and I think it would be relevant today. Honestly, you know, I think it was it was a powerful message that they were sending. I mean, the songs that the Band Gypsies were doing at the time, you know, Power to Love, and you know, they had a deeper message, you know, about anti-war stuff and bringing people together, and I think we need that now, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
shows what music can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy thing I watched recently was a documentary on Bob Marley, and it had to do with it was focusing on the sort of political stuff that was going on in Jamaica and how he got caught up into that because of these 2 different parties that were sort of feuding with each other. Not just feuding, but like had gangs that were fighting each other in the streets, like shooting at each other and killing. Like that's what Jamaica was experiencing at the time. And the reggae music, a lot of what Bob was doing was coming out of that like complete chaos and like trying to make the people feel better in the area and trying to put some pride and power back into the hands of the people. And he got caught up in this situation where there was a concert that they wanted to do, a free concert for Jamaica, and one of the political, people who was campaigning sort of, it seems like, tried to glom on to it being a thing in support of his side, and it was like, that's not what Bob was into at all. And then he ended up getting shot. Actually, some people came and shot him and some other people at his studio, at his house, his home in the heart of Jamaica. That, they killed one. I don't think they killed one of the guys, but they shot somebody and then shot at him, and he actually had like bullet wounds. One went across his chest and into his arm, and it was this whole thing about whether or not the concert should go on, and he didn't, people giving advice one way or the other, but he ended up doing this concert, and it's like, I know I love music and I wanted to reach people and do better things, but like there's nothing that I could possibly, even conceive of doing that would ever come close to touching that. But that was like all of this chaos and high emotions around this music that he was making because he was unifying people about something was seen as like a political threat or something.
Right.
Like, whoa, I know there's a lot of...
We've seen that in America, too.
Yeah.
John Lennon was a target of the FBI for a long time,
Right.
I mean, yeah, when people have a strong opinion and, a large crowd or mass is following that, it alarms the government. And, it's not their message. It's the message of the people. So
right. It's the power of music. It shows it. There is a power to it.
Absolutely.
And it's not just, I guess any good art should be affecting change or at least ticking off possibilities. But yeah, you don't think about music as being, it's just vibrations of air. Like, what's dangerous about that? But some people see it as dangerous. And you're like, wow.
Yeah. A lot of people saw books as dangerous.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, when history is...
If you throw them hard enough at someone's head, they can be very dangerous. There's nothing to take lightly. Imagine a whole shelf of library books collapsing on your head. That's danger.
That is danger.
But anyway, so back to we went from Weed Pecker to Jimi Hendrix to Bob Marley to dangerous books getting thrown at your head.
Yeah,
man.
This is what you're gonna get week to week.
Yes, yeah. This is what we want to talk about. We want to discuss these things.
Hopefully, these things interest you guys too. I mean, this is, we're doing this for the people.
Oh, we know it interests them,
and
providing a service.
I mean, who doesn't want to know about Bob Marley and
Weed Pecker?
And we have Weed Pecker. I mean, come on. You guys should definitely check them out.
Check them out. They're a good listen.
They are.
This kind of music you can put on and clean your house to.
Yeah.
And you can put on and drive to. You can put on and just sit there and absorb it.
Yeah. I think it's good wake up music too.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we listened to it this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cooking breakfast.
I believe I woke up to it.
Yeah.
it was actually rather
and
nice.
Look what we accomplished today.
So everybody start your day with a little Weed Pecker.
There you go. That sounds bad. The band, we mean the band.
Yeah.
They're a cool band. Check them out for sure.
Absolutely.
And hey, let us know if you've got any other bands you want us to check out and talk about. If maybe you got a favorite band and album that's, hey, listen to these guys and then tell us what you think about it.
We're going to have some interactive stuff on our Facebook page, polls. I'm sure that everybody will be mature about that and the way that they answer, and it won't become a joke. But we also have other ways of, if you're serious about, an inquiry about, wanting us to review something or talk about something.
Yeah, we love to talk. Give us some information. Give us some fuel.
We'll have all of our contact information on our website, which will be updated tonight, and Facebook page. It's all in the beginning stages right now. So
what's the next stage?
So, cut us some slack. This is our first time doing any of this.
And we're going to ease up on the next stage jokes. I know we're real excited about it right now. We keep making
also,
any joke
have we
can.
given these people an introduction of who we are?
Well, we haven't.
I believe they should know our names, I mean, most of our friends are going to be watching this and listening to this. But
we don't have any friends. Don't kid yourself. So we're doing this in reverse order. We should have introduced ourselves first, but here we're
Yeah.
going to do it now. My name's Scott. Most of you know me as Scott Elliott. Play music around town, do my best with that. I've been putting bands together since I was in high school. Some better than others, but it's always a progress. I come from more of a hard rock background. Got involved playing guitar when I was maybe 14 or so. And from people ask me my influences, and my best answer is Nat King Cole and Slayer, and everything in between.
Oh, that's great.
But I tend towards the harder rock stuff. I like riff rock. I like the energy that came out of original rock and roll music. There was something just primal and chaotic about it. And I think you go back to, Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry, and like there's a ferocity in there that, even if you go into punk rock, like it's still the same. It just was packaged differently, and it's not really, to me, about the sound so much as it is about the feeling, because that feeling is what creates the sound, and it's that sense of like a struggle with the instrument sometimes, or a mastery, but it's that sort of tense, chaotic energy is what I really love in music, and different bands do it differently than others, but that's really what attracts me to it, because I like the performance, the expression, and that like explosiveness that rock music can have. But I also write some ballads here and there and acoustic stuff, and get sad and depressed and want to express all those feelings
that's the
too.
life of a musician. Yeah.
So anyway, that's a bit of my story. Now, how about Mr. Lynch?
Oh, Lynch Box.
Lynch Box.
As you might see on our posts on our page. Yeah, my name is Jesse Lynch. I've played in several bands in the area that I'm sure some of our listeners will know. But yeah, it's the same kind of journey that you explained, man. I've been playing music since I was 12 years old.
You're covering your face. People want to see your pretty face.
Oh, well, I mean, this is an audio. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, just like, a lot of other musicians. I've been playing in good and crappy bands for a long time. I currently play in a duo with our good friend Joe Pacelli, who will be doing a segment on here. We're not going to give away any,
This is enough of a teaser.
Yeah,
We don't have to give away the whole
If you
bag.
know Joe, you know what it's going to be. But Joe and I play in a band called Gutless Wonders, and that's a acoustic folk duo. Yeah, that's a cool thing that we do. I play with Scott in Panic Grave, which is our rock and roll band. I play a lot of different instruments, and I like to utilize that and kind of surf around some bands. I like to sit in with John Chapman, who's another good friend of ours.
Shout out Johnny Chapman.
He'll be on here, I'm sure, at some point. I like to get around and show my music skills in other ways than just guitar and singing, but that's my main stint is guitar and singing.
Yeah. So I'll ask you a question, and then I'll ask myself the same one. What do you hope to accomplish with music? Like, what is it? What drives you to do it?
Fame, fortune, no.
And the money will roll right in.
I guess to live comfortably, and do what I love. If there was a way to play music and write music and give people what I want to do, what I want to write, what I feel, if I can share that with people and they accept it and I can make a living doing that, that's it.
That's what you consider success.
That's success.
Yeah.
If I can raise a family and be a musician, that would be glorious.
I agree, man.
Nobody wants to punch the clock like we're doing. We sit at a desk in our cubicles and we slave away all day. But hey, you never know what can happen, And I think that is an important message for most musicians out there. Keep your head up.
Yeah.
Keep going. No matter how old you are, how hard you think it is. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's what could go wrong with it. You know what I mean? Set some time aside, no matter what you do, to work on your craft and to do the things you love. That's the only way you're going to be happy in life.
Yeah, I've heard that term of you just got to show up. Half of doing anything is just showing up for it, which doesn't mean you got to physically go somewhere, but it means each day You know, or if you try to each day, maybe each week, at least you pick up your instrument and you do something with it, even if it doesn't lead to anything. Yeah, instead showing up for it. And I'll ask myself the same question.
Same question. Back to you.
Scott, what do you want to do with music? Funny you should ask that, actually. I've never thought about it until now. I'm on the spot. Oh, goodness. What do I want to do? That's hard. Yeah, similar sort of sentiment. I just see the power of music to reach people. Personally, it has done that for me. Being in high school and listening to The Doors, I felt like, oh my gosh, Jim Morrison understands me. Like, there's not another person in the world who I could possibly share these ideas with. Something about just the words and the lyrics and the mood, it just grabbed me. I'm like, this is somebody who's been dead long before I was even born, yet I'm listening to these albums and they're reaching through to me as I felt like no one else had. I'm like, wow, that is power.
Have you ever considered that maybe you are his Indian spirit?
You know what? I dream about that, a few times a month, and I didn't want to share it with anyone because I thought like, that's a bit egotistical. But you said it, not me. And that Indian spirit that came into him at the car crash had to go somewhere, and maybe
it's a ping pong effect.
Yeah, maybe it snuck into me at some point. And I was listening back to myself. I wasn't listening to him. I wasn't listening to Jim. I was like, this is an echo of my own voice from the past. But yeah, so that affected me, and then bands like Pink Floyd, The Wall, that really, like, almost every day I'd get home from high school and listen to that album, and it just for some reason comforted me, made me feel better about myself, and that power of music to transcend time and space and to be effective even long beyond the person's career or their life, or even though the band is not doing what it used to do at that time, whatever, it's set and it's preserved and it's exactly the same. And anybody who has working ears can experience that in the same way. You don't have to learn a language. You don't have to know, like math, people say is a universal language, but if you can't do math, you can't participate. But music affects everyone instantaneously at the same time if you're hearing it. So to me, it's the strongest form of magic we have left because of that fact that it can travel, it can transcend time and space, and it's being created by just individual people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like there's nothing super special about these people other than they put a lot of time into doing and perfecting their craft.
Yes, yeah.
But it's like any human being has the faculties to move their body and make sounds that can do that. And it's like, but why do certain ones do it better than others? To me, that's the magic that I've always been chasing with music and wanting to sort of feed my piece of the pie, or piece of that into the greater realm of what music exists. Long story short, I'd like to contribute back into that well that I've pulled so much out of in my own life. That's helped me get through. And I was like, maybe someday some kid will hear this music and feel better about himself or about life or about the world. And like that's the biggest goal I could ever accomplish.
That's something that I didn't expect. I don't know about you, but like I never thought I would be like saying that, you know, because like the misconception for a lot of musicians out there when you're young is to start and you look at these idols, and you want to be that fame and fortune guy, you want to be up on that big stage. You want to be the most liked person. You want to be, and that's such a misconception because, I feel like those artists, especially the ones like Kurt Cobain and like, big idols, they suffered in that limelight, you know what I mean? Because they weren't ready for it. And I feel like there's more to it, that we've evolved as musicians and now we understand the impact of music and how it can help people. If we can write a song that helps someone through their day, that is a win. That's it. That's it. That's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, I would love to be able to support a family someday doing music and playing music. But if that doesn't happen, I'm still not going to be like, depressed and down about it. Right. Because I know that I've definitely written something that's helped someone or at least caught their ear enough that they liked it. And that meant enough to them that they liked it.
Yeah, maybe it'll inspire them to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. But the dream would be if you could sustain yourself with doing that, then you'd have more time and you wouldn't have to get bogged down by the nonsense of the world. Because then now I'm free to really
Now you're
dig
full
into
time.
this thing.
Now you're full time
and bring the best treasure up to the surface.
And that's what we're trying to do here, folks. We're trying to create a podcast that me and Scott quit our jobs and focus totally on music. But we need you. We need you to listen.
We need supportive viewers like you to make this happen.
We're looking for sponsors out there.
Feel free to give us cash anytime you like. We won't turn it down.
Put a tip jar over here.
Yeah.
And you guys can donate, and then we'll, throw fictitious money into it.
All money's fictitious. What are you talking about?
This is true.
Wrong podcast. Sorry.
Yeah,
Alex Jones. No.
The Federal Reserve is a lie.
Everything's a lie. We're holograms.
All right, so we will be shut down after our first podcast.
Elon Musk will come personally and prevent us from sharing his secrets about the virtual reality that we are living in, that he engineered.
We are all shape-shifting lizard people.
Billy Corgan's apparently seen one. That's what he says.
Oh.
Yeah,
that guy
exactly.
just seems... He is just... I love that guy, right?
Yeah.
God.
He made some awesome music, man.
He did. You know what? But it just... God, I can't stand him.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never met him.
I just know, just like he knows that there's shape-shifting lizard people out there. I know that he is an asshole.
So anyway.
Yeah.
All love for all music.
Yeah. I think this was a good first day, our first time doing this.
Yeah, this is we're working through it. We're figuring it out.
We hope that you guys enjoyed listening to us, go down these crazy
I hope you hated every minute of it. Because if you're still here after hating it all, like you've got a certain penchant for torture.
Yeah.
And that's only going to serve us because in that case, we can't do anything to drive you away. No, we hope you're here for the right reasons, and it's all healthy and positive and leading towards a better understanding of human nature.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll be dropping some good interviews. Hopefully next week we're not going to give you the name yet.
There might be some special guests involved. We don't know.
Check our Instagram, our
some
Twitter,
clues.
Our Facebook. We'll be doing some social media teasers.
Yeah, we might throw some red herrings out there that completely mislead you, so don't get too excited.
Yeah, don't.
I mean, happiness comes when your expectations are so low that nothing can bother you. So keep your expectations way down, and you'll always be surprised by life.
Nice.
We'll leave you with that for now.
That's words of wisdom. All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.